Samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Homage to our most venerable Pinot Lokusami Nanse, our teacher Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So happy to talk about our Supreme Buddha with you today also. And then if you remember, we learned many things about our Mahabodhisattva. Remember, Mahabodhisattva is the great person who was coming through the samsara, collecting good merits and developing wholesome qualities, fulfilling the perceptions, perfections to become the Supreme Buddha. He is the Mahabodhisattva. We talked many things, we learned many things about Mahabodhisattva. Now, the Mahabodhisattva is born in the human world. Remember, when he was born in the human world, everyone was surprised about marvelous things about this great prince. Okay, and then today also we will talk about many things about this small prince, Prince Siddhartha, our Mahabodhisattva, who became the supremely enlightened Buddha later on. All right. If you remember, last week we talked about this prince, and then about the who remembers? Who can say that the things we learned about the Supreme Buddha last week in our last episode?
Swamin Wansa, last week we learned about the 32 great marks of the Supreme Buddha.
That's very good. That's
and
very good.
yeah.
Yes, great marks on the body of the Supreme Being. These are the great marks. And then when these great marks appeared on the body of someone else, they have two future predictions. What was the first one? Anybody else? Yeah, Peter?
Namo Buddhaya King.
It would become a wheel-turning monarch.
Right. One prediction is he will definitely be the monarch king or the emperor in the world. Or the other one is, if he doesn't become the monarch king in the world, he would definitely become someone else?
The Buddha, the Supreme
Absolutely.
Buddha.
He would absolutely becomes the Buddha. Okay, these are the things we learned last week. And then I have something very beautiful to share about the Supreme Buddha today as well. This is the naming ceremony. Now the small Prince Siddhartha is born. In the palace he is living with his father and with his mother and with his stepmother, Mahaprajapati Gautami. Remember Mahamaya, the Queen Mahamaya was his mother, and the King Suddhodana was his father. And then these are the things I share with you today. Let me show you. All right, the naming ceremony. Naming ceremony. Now the small prince is born. You see the baby prince is okay, sleeping, lying down on a very comfortable seat. And then the king is beautiful king, right? And then some people behind you see in the picture. And then I need someone else to read the first part of the of this okay, Senila first will get the chance. The naming ceremony.
The naming ceremony.
108 Brahmins gathered at the naming ceremony. Kondanya, examining the marks of the prince's body, raised one finger and said, "Great king, I see no reason for the prince to stay in the household life. I have no doubt he will destroy all defilements and become a supreme Buddha." The prince was named Siddhartha, which means the one who brings great good to the world.
Very good. I rejoice the good merit you collected. So remember how many people gathered in the naming ceremony to predict the name? They are Brahmins. Yes, Kevin? Kevin?
There was 180 Brahmins.
100 and? Put 108. Okay. And then out of 108 people, 8 people were very wise and intelligent and well educated. And then among them, one person, the youngest person was Kondanya. He raised one finger to the sky and said, "Great king, I see no reason for the prince to stay in the household life." Who is this Kondanya?
Arahant Kondanya or
He
Bante?
became the first Bante who attained the Sotapanna, the stream entry, right? Out of 5 monks. And then he said, "Dear king, this prince would definitely become the supremely enlightened Buddha in this world." Looking at the body science, he said this. And then because of this great person becomes the greatest person in the world, and for the benefit of all beings in the world, he was named
Siddhartha.
Siddhartha. So the meaning of this name Siddhartha is, I want you to remember the meaning of the Supreme Buddha's name, the one who brings great good to the world. That was the meaning. Remember, everybody? Okay, he gave the great good to the world. That's why Siddhartha, right? Siddhartha. Remember, you hear Siddhartha Gautama, the name of our Supreme Buddha. Gautama is his clan. Gautama is the family he lived, and Siddhartha was his name. He was named as Siddhartha. And then later on, he was famous, the Supreme Buddha was famous as Siddhartha Gautama Supreme Buddha. Okay, that was the naming ceremony. Now the prince is born and he has a beautiful name. And then I share something more with you today. And then not it's not something good actually happened after 7 days of our Mahabodhisattva was born. Something very sad happened. This is a natural law. And then I want someone else to read this part. Anuj, are you ready for that? Yes.
Now, Queen Mahamaya in Tusita Heaven. 7 days after the birth of the Mahabodhisattva, Queen Mahamaya lay down in her bed and had a peaceful sleep. That night she passed away from the human world. When she opened her eyes, she had been reborn in the Tusita heaven as a 16-year-old male deva of great beauty. That is the nature of the world. Thank you,
Thank you.
Bhante. Guntim Bhante.
Thank you. I rejoice the good merit you collected. So after 7 days, his mother, Prince Siddhartha's mother, passed away and was born in Tusita heaven, but not as a female devotee. He became the male deva, male deity in the Tusita heaven. It's not like an infant or a baby. 16 years. Remember, you see the picture I shared with you, and then uh, the Matru Divyarajaya, the Deva, Matru, is born in the Tusita heaven. When the Supreme Buddha visiting in the Tusita heaven, he listened to the Dhamma. See the picture? He came to listen to the Supreme Buddha's teachings in Tusita heaven. Now he is a male Deva. Huh? It's a beautiful thing, beautiful information we have. And then this is about Queen Mahamaya. And then Queen Mahamaya died not for any reason. This is a natural law in the human world. Okay? And then if I share something more about it with you today, this is about the next thing. Now Prince Siddhartha is in the king's palace, and then he was nurtured and cared by Mahaprajapati Gautami, his stepmother. You remember Mahaprajapati Gautami was the younger sister of Queen Mahamaya. From the same father, from the same mother, they were born, okay? And then King Siddhodana married these two sisters, Queen Mahamaya and Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami. Now Queen Mahamaya is gone to the Tusita heaven. Now Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami is ready to take care of this little prince. And then maybe I give this chance to many people. Ramudu? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
That's okay. Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami. Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami became the Bodhisattva's nursing mother after the passing away of Queen Mahamaya. She was so fortunate to become a nun in the Buddha Sasana and attained arahantship. When the time had come for her to attain final nibbana, she came to the Blessed One and spoke wonderful verses.
Okay, and then Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami later on, she became a nun in the dispensation, and she was very, very, very fortunate to understand the noble Dhamma and to attain the arahantship. After becoming an arahant nun, maybe she was close to her passing away, final nibbana, and then she had something beautiful to say to the Supreme Buddha. Okay, this was the Teri Gatha, the inspired utterances of this great Arahant nun Mahaprajapati Gautami. I think I would read this. My screen doesn't work. Okay. See, the Buddha was visiting the palace in Kapilavatthu, and all the Sakyans, including Suddhodana king and Mahaprajapati Gautami, comes and worships the Supreme Buddha. So I just found this picture online. Yes, Linda, if you're ready. That's beautiful verse.
Your body, made of flesh and bones, was nourished by me, the well-gone one. My body, born of the Dhamma, was nourished by you, O Gautama. I suckle you with mother's milk, which quenches thirst for a moment. From you I drank the milk of the deathless Nibbana.
See, I want everyone to understand the meaning of this Teri Gatha. Your body made of flesh and bones was nourished by me, well-gone one. So she says that I treated you as the mother, and then later on My body was born, the Dhamma was nourished by you, O Gautama. And you raised me. You took care of me with the Dhamma. And then I suckled you with mother's milk, which quenches the thirst of, for a moment, I gave you the breast milk, but from you I drank the milk of deathless Nibbana. You gave me the milk of Nibbana. It's such a beautiful thing. So I want everyone to understand and enjoy the meaning of these verses. They are very deep. They have very deep meanings and beautiful, um, beautiful words they spoke. And then the next part of this Teri Gatha is given to maybe uh, Kayla. Yeah.
Sure.
Now see in the picture, Mahaprajapati Gautami, the Arahant nun, is visiting the Supreme Buddha. She's very old now. Yes, Kayla.
O great sage, you owe no debt to me for caring and nurturing you. Queens of the world, bearing mighty sons, are sunk into the ocean of existence. O sun, you raised me up above the ocean of existence, setting me down on the island of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu. A great sage, you owe no debt to me. So you know that mothers are the hardest people who take care of their children, and then children are always they have debt to their parents, but she says that you have no any debt to me for caring and nurturing. Queens of the world bearing mighty sons as are sunk in the ocean of existence. Even the great mothers give birth to great people. They are still in the samsara. They have no chance to be free from the samsara. But she says that, oh son, you raised me up above the ocean of existence, which means she now freed from the samsara, the repeated existence, setting me down on the island of Nibbana. So because of the Supreme Buddha, she was freed from this great ocean of samsara. Isn't that beautiful, the verses we learned? You want to be very happy about your readings, about your learnings, about the way they speak, the peaceful words they spoke. They are very peaceful, and then they have very deep meanings. If I go furthermore um, about our supremely bodhisattva, now he is living. So we talk this information about the Supreme Buddha and about the Mahaprajapati Gautami as an Arahant nun, but the Siddhartha Bodhisattva is still very young. He's an infant, 2 months old. Even if he is 2 months old, he's not a simple person. He's not a general person. He concentrated his mind and attained the jhanas. And then I share this information with you. All right. Okay. I think my okay. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. Yeah, this is for if you're ready, Peter. 2 months old prince attains the first jhana. Just 2 months old. See the picture, the beautiful picture. We read the information.
2-month-old prince attains first jhana. In the Sakyans' annual ploughing ceremony, 1,000 new ploughs were settled in the fields. Near the fields there was a rose apple tree with pleasant shade. The king prepared a bed under the tree for the prince. The prince, waking up and sitting cross-legged, started to practice meditation on mindfulness of breathing. The little prince attained the first jhana.
Thank you. Rejoice the merit. You understand the word jhana? Jhana is the higher state of meditation, concentration. When people practice meditation, they can achieve jhanas in samadhi. Jhana is a peaceful state of concentration. The first jhana, the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and furthermore we have in the Dhamma. So he still as a 2-month-old baby, in the ploughing ceremony, his father arranged a very big ceremony for the Sakyans cultivation ceremony, and then they were digging the floor with the plows, and then in that occasion this happens. Actually, this is a very beautiful incident. So the prince was sitting on the meditation pose under the rose apple tree, and then he concentrated his mind with breathing meditation. He focused on his mind on the breathing meditation, and then he was able to concentrate his mind and attain the first jhana. And with that happened, something miracle also occurred on the place. It was a sunny day, and then the shadow of the rose apple tree did not change even if the sun goes down, because that sun also wanted this prince not to be disturbed with the sunshade, okay? In the sunshade. That was a miracle. And then everybody was amazed to see this miracle. Actually, the small prince is sitting for the meditation, and the shade of the tree comes down without changing with the sun. And then everybody came here and surprised and paid their veneration. For the second time, also Queen Siddhodana came and worshipped. Oh, my little prince is so amazing. And he paid the second veneration. If you remember the first veneration of the king, that was the incident Asita ascetic came and visited the prince, and then the lotus feet of this small prince Siddhartha placed on the forehead, on the turban of the ascetic Asita. At the moment, king and everybody worshipped this prince. And this is the second incident. I want you to remember these two incidents. King Suddhodana and everybody in the Sakyans clan worshipped, paid their veneration to this small prince. Can I go ahead, children? Very good. And then we will talk about the luxurious life he had, he enjoyed, he led in the king's palace. And then you can read this. Maybe Hero? Okay. This is the chance to you then, Hero. All the sensual pleasures for the prince.
The king built 3 mansions called Ramya, Suramya, and Subha for the prince. One mansion was 9 stories high, one 7, and other 5. One mansion was for the winter season, another for the summer season, and the other for the rainy season.
Okay, so how many palaces he had in the kingdom?
3 palaces.
3. And one mansion was Ramya, the second one was Suramya, and then the third one was called Subha. And then one mansion was 9 stories high. It's a huge one. Then the other one was 7, another one was 5. One mansion was for the winter season, another was for the summer season and another was for the rainy season. That's beautiful. Why? Why did he have this such a luxurious life? If anyone can guess about this, why this great king Suddhodana wanted him to enjoy the sensual pleasures a lot? Minupa, if you have any idea about this?
Nama Buddha-san answer. So I believe King Suddhodana didn't want Prince Siddhartha to leave the palace and wanted to Prince Siddhartha to stay. So he indulged Prince Siddhartha with all the sensual pleasures.
Absolutely, yes. That was the reason. The king did not want him to go away. The king wanted him to stay in the king's palace, enjoying the sensual pleasures. That was exactly the reason for that. And then later on, children, everybody, the Supreme Buddha explained about his luxurious life he had. And then we will read about this, maybe Arjuna, if you're ready. This is something the Buddha spoke about his luxurious life he had as a prince. The Blessed One described his luxurious life he had. If Arjuna is not here, maybe. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Dinudaham.
The Blessed One described his luxurious life he had. Monks, I was delicately nurtured, most delicately nurtured, extremely delicately nurtured. At my father's residence, lotus ponds were made just for my enjoyment. In one of them, blue lotuses bloomed. In another, red lotuses, and in a third, white lotuses.
Okay, thank you for your beautiful reading. And then that was the Buddha explained about his luxurious life he had as a person. And then anyone else for the next part? Seara, you ready, Buddha?
Yes, Bante.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The Buddha still spoke about that.
I used no sandalwood unless it came from Kasi, and my headdress, jacket, lower garment, and upper garment were made of cloth from Kasi. By day and by night a white canopy was held over me, so that cold and heat, dust, grass, and dew would not settle on me.
Okay, thank you. Many merits for your reading. And then the next part is for, if you raise your hands, maybe. I'm a little confused about someone who, okay, Manut, Kumi. Then this is what you have. Manut, I can't see you.
I had 3 mansions, one for the winter, one for the summer, and one for the rainy season. I spent the 4 months of the rain in the rainy season mansion, being entertained by musicians, none of whom were male, and I did not leave the mansion.
Okay, that's what he explained about the seasons. For the seasons, he had these kinds of luxurious things. And then the next part goes to okay, Tehan. Okay, this is what you have. Puti, you want to be very happy about this reading because this is the original translation of the Supreme Buddha. This is the word of the Supreme Buddha. You are so lucky to read the word out loud to the world. Yes, you go ahead.
While in all other people's homes, slaves, workers, and servants are given broken rice together with sour grew for
Good.
11 years. In my father's residence, they were giving choice hill rice and meat.
Sadhu, sadhu. So in the other people's palaces, maybe other kings' palaces, they had something, some food that's not delicious. But in the king's palace, King Suddhodana's palace, where the Prince Siddhartha lived, everybody enjoyed luxurious food. Okay, why? Because of the merit of this great Prince Siddhartha. And then see, if you remember the Jataka stories, our Mahabodhisattva collected uncountable number of lives. He collected good merits giving. Now he had the last birth in the human world to become the Supreme Buddha. And then he enjoyed everything. Everybody enjoyed the luxurious things for his good merit. And then Amanda, you have something to read about our the prince Yashodara. Anybody else who had an idea about Yashodara? Who Yashodara was? Huh? Yashodara. Now the prince Siddhartha is a young prince, young boy. Now he marries to Princess Yashodara. If you remember, when was she born? We talked this information before. When she was born.
That's very strong answer. Princess Yashodhara, she was born on the exact same day of the Buddha.
Same day. And then if you add more, Chandil, the same day,
The same time.
Same time. Remember, same day, same time she was born, and she became the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, in the country, and she marries to Prince Siddhartha. Did I give this to someone else to read? No. Then Savitu, if you're ready.
Me, Swami Mahansa?
Yeah.
The most fortunate Princess Yashodhara. For many countless eons, Yashodhara's journey in samsara with Mahabodhisattva while he fulfilled the perfections. She loved her husband more than her own life, and in many past lives, she sacrificed her life to save her husband's life.
Okay, thank you. I rejoice the good merit you collected. So this information is beautiful. And then Princess Yasodhara married to the Prince Siddhartha, and later on she became a nun, if you remember. And she was also fortunate to attain the Nibbana, Arahantship. And then after becoming an Arahant nun, okay, and she spoke something very, very beautiful. And then we will read about that too. This part goes to Chandil. Are you ready, Puta? Yeah, okay, very good.
Even in times of pain and grief, she always stayed by his side throughout this long journey, like a never departing shadow. When her husband practiced celibacy, she did so too. When her husband practiced austerity, she did so too. When her husband practiced the jhanas and was reborn in the Brahma world, she practiced the jhanas and was reborn in the Brahma world.
Very good, sadhu sadhu. Always the Mahabodhisattva was practicing the Dhamma. She became the same, and she wanted to help Mahabodhisattva all the time, always. When Mahabodhisattva gives something to the world, she was very happy and she was helpful. She was always encouraging Mahabodhisattva in his journey, fulfilling the perfections. And then we will have the Theri Gatha. Again, one more time, we have a Theri Gatha. Remember Theri Gatha? Theri Gathas are the inspired utterances they spoke after becoming an enlightened beings. And then happy feelings they spoke, okay? And then we would give this chance to Minupa's Nangi,
And my sons.
Minupa's sister.
Later on, Yashodhara ordained as a nun, and having eradicated all the defilements, became an arahant. Moments before she attained final nibbana, she worshipped the Blessed One and said the following: O great hero, guarding myself from the unwholesome, renouncing bad conduct, for the sake of you, did I give up my life.
Okay. Guarding myself from the unwholesome, renouncing bad conduct, for the sake of you, did I give up my life. Okay. And then next part of this Theri Gatha goes to Dimal. Okay. Dimal, did you read that before?
No, sir, not sir.
Okay, very good. This is what you have then. The next part of this Theri Gatha.
O great sage, several tens of billions of times, inspiring for Buddhahood, you gave me up to be another's wife, wishing always your welfare, never did I get upset. O great sage, several tens of billions of times, aspiring for Buddhahood, you gave me up to be another's slave, wishing always your welfare, never did I get upset.
Thank you, and beautiful reading. I rejoice the good merit. Remember, in the samsara, Mahabodhisattva gave her, Yasodhara, for a wife of another person. Generosity. That's how they practice generosity. But she did not get upset about that. Even Mahabodhisattva gives her to a different person as his wife. Yashodhara did not change her mind, and then she was very peaceful and okay with that. And then when Mahabodhisattva, this is not something unusual, Pute. This is the life of the Bodhisattvas. They give whatever they can give with one idea to become the Supreme Buddha. You get this idea? And then all the time, Yashodhara was ready for that. Even Mahabodhisattva gives his life for the sake of Buddhahood, and she was okay with that. Even with pain, even with suffering, even with grief, lots of uncomfortable feelings, she was okay. And she made her mind happy about the practice of our Mahabodhisattva. And then when our Mahabodhisattva, see the next Gatha, in this next Gatha, you gave me up to become another's slave, and then wishing always your welfare, never I did get upset. These are the great people, children, great people. They, the Mahabodhisattva gives her to someone else as a slave, as a servant. His loving, caring wife all the time, never does anything bad, never speaks anything bad to hurt the Mahabodhisattva, but he gives this woman to a different person for their slave, but she was okay. Why? She knows that the Bodhisattva is coming through this samsara to become the Buddha for the welfare of the world, for the happiness of the world. She is helping to practice the perfections. You get this idea? And then the next part of this Theri Gatha goes to Vinu. Are you ready, Puta?
Yes.
Okay, this is what you have then. Huh?
Okay. Several tears of billions of tears for the snake of you. I've grown up my life to scare you from the geners of lions, leopards, and such beetles. I sincerely offer myself to those animals. O great stage, abandonment, and my jewelry, firmly clothing, holding nothing. All of this came up when you practice growing.
Sadhu. I rejoice the good merit of your beautiful reading. But the several tens of billions of times, it's not a single time, huh? Billions of trillions of time. For the sake of you, I gave up my life to save you from the jaws of lions. Okay? She dedicated her life, she sacrificed her life to save the bodhisattva's life, leopards and such beasts. It's not one time, it's not two times, three times, billions of trillions of times in the samsara. She did that. Why? She loved him. She loved a lot, and she wishes the happiness of the world. And she knew that the Mahabodhisattva becomes the greatest person in the world. Sincerely, I offered my life to those animals. And then when Mahabodhisattva gives something, she says, abundant was my jewelry. She was very rich, not one time, not two times, thousands of millions of trillions of times. She gave ornaments and warmly clothing, holding nothing with me. All of it I gave up when you practiced giving. Can you imagine the life of this amazing woman in the world? This is the maybe the most how do you say that, wonderful, lucky, fortunate woman ever in the world. She was coming behind our Mahabodhisattva, not as a general normal woman. She was the biggest encouragement of our Mahabodhisattva. We have more about this Gata. If we go ahead, okay, this will go to, if you raise your hands, maybe. In the, okay, very good. Okay, this is what you have. Let me share it.
Great stage when practice growing. I've grown up reef and green fields, villages, and also forests, snows, and daughters as well. Oh, great! Elephants, horses, also horse, cells and wells as smart ones and given up bondage all count for the snake of your children.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your beautiful reading. I rejoice the good merit.
Thank you,
Okay.
Hamru.
What is it?
Thank you, Hamru.
Okay, okay. When you practice giving, I gave up wealth and grain, fields, villages, and all the towns, sons and daughters as well. Remember in the Jataka story, Vesantara, okay, they were practicing giving, lots of giving. It was not easy for them to give. The children, how do they donate children to other people as slaves, as good mothers and fathers? But they did that for the Buddhahood, to become the Buddha, for the Mahabodhisattva in the world, for welfare and happiness of all beings. They dedicated their lives, their children, their blood, their tears and everything, their wealth. Why? That's the true love they had. That's the absolute thing that they shared each other. And then elephants, horses, also cows, slaves as well as servant women are given up beyond all count for the sake of your charity. That's beautiful. And then the next part of this Gatha, maybe the last part, I guess, is given to uh, someone someone who did not read before in the entire program, in the entire series. I give this chance to if a volunteer my last reading. Anybody else? Someone who has not read anything before in my program goes to what else? No? Then it's for me, I guess. Okay, Senudi. Did you read?
No, Swaminatha.
Okay, very good. The first part of this slide is for you, and the next part is for someone else. Yeah.
Whatever you said you wanted to give as alms to beggars, never did I feel displeased, seeing your acts of giving.
Sadhu, sadhu. When he gives, and never did I feel displeased. Remember, sometimes when we practice giving in our houses, sometimes my father is generous, but my mother says that, oh, we need it. Sometimes they say. Sometimes when my mother gives something, oh, we need more for children, father says. But that's something that's very normal in our families. But they are not like that. When they give something else, they are pleased. They are happy about the other people's gift. And then that's how they practice the generosity. And then Subodha, did you read?
No, sir, not sir.
Then now last part is for you.
Name sir, not sir. O great sage, for you to fulfill the perfections, I have experienced suffering in various lives in this long samsara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. She suffered a lot. It was not something simple. It's not easy. It was not always happy, but they did that. Okay, for your fulfill of perfections, she said that she became the greatest encouragement of our Mahabodhisattva when he was coming to become the Supreme Buddha in the entire samsara. Okay, and then now in the human world, the Buddha, the Prince Siddhartha is born, and then the Yashodara is born. They married again, and then this was about the Theri Gatha. After becoming a nun, she spoke of all of these Theri Gathas. But we were talking about the incident of their wedding, and they are getting married in this human world. And then this is our Mahabodhisattva started his life in this human world, the last birth of our Mahabodhisattva in the human world, in the entire world. And then he was trying to become the Buddha. He was taking his time to get the chance to become the Supreme Buddha. And Princess Yashodara becomes the biggest help behind him. And then his mother passed away and was born into Sita heaven. And his father is always worried about the prince, giving everything for the prince. He tried to make this beautiful prince happy all the time, to keep him in the king's palace, to become the monarch. He just wanted him to become the monarch king, the empire in the world. This was what we learned today, and then I want you to remember everything we learned today, everything we learned about Mahabodhisattva, everything we learned about Mahaprajapati Gautami, everything we learned about Yashodhara, everything we learned about something amazing, their wholesome activities, their their happy minds, and their meritorious activities, the way they thought, the thinking patterns, their lifestyles are very different because everything based on the wholesome qualities. Everything was for the other people's happiness. Remember? And then I want you to make your minds happy and faithful and Shraddha about our Mahabodhisattva, about our supremely enlightened Buddha, about the enlightened nuns in their in the families, in the kingdom, and make your minds happy about the Supreme Buddha. That would not be something simple. That would come behind you for your happiness, to encourage you in the practice of the Dhamma, to develop the qualities of the Dhamma in the path of the Supreme Buddha until you get the ultimate liberation of Nibbana, to be free from all the sufferings in the samsara, to overcome all the pain and grief in the samsara that would come with you to help you to understand the beautiful Dhamma and to be free. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.